Hello and welcome back everyone. Today I have a challenge video going over some players that were collected as collateral damage on a season. What I mean by that are players that were not the intended target, but got caught in the crosshairs or got caught in the chaos, were sent into elimination, and were eliminated anyways. I have found about 9 or 10 instances that I want to highlight in this video, and we're going to start off with the moment that inspired this entire video, and that was in episode 5 of the challenge, season 41, Vets and New Threats. At the daily challenge, Derek C and D got last place, and Derek was going to be sent directly into the elimination. While out at the bar, Derek was telling everybody that he would like to go up against either Jeremy or Will, stating that he would rather swing big, go against a really strong competitor to either win against a very strong competitor and get them out of the game early, or to lose against a really strong competitor. Jeremy's partner Ashley did not like this plan and was very nervous that she possibly had a chance to become the hangnail. Olivia overheard Ashley's worries and she was fed up with it.
We can't put her in that position. Yeah. Then put me in that position, I don't care. What are they gonna do to me?
That if Olivia found herself possibly to become the hangnail or to become the hangnail, that she would not worry about it. She would take it on the chin and people should just play the game. Stop being scared. Olivia's words played telephone throughout the entire house, and the meaning changed from "you shouldn't be scared to become a hangnail" turned to "Olivia's fine with being the hangnail," which put not only her game in jeopardy, but mainly Ben's, as it was a guy's day. Ultimately, the result at the voting ceremony had Ben being voted in against Derek C in the him collider elimination, where Ben was eliminated.
Ben Davis got absolutely dominated in there.
Really, Ben's name was on no one's radar, not even Derek, who was going into the elimination. But he ultimately was sent in and sent home, thanks in part to Olivia's words. Now, someone I mentioned in this story, Ashley, found herself as collateral damage a few seasons earlier in season 36, Double Agents. In the very beginning of Double Agents, TJ allowed the players to partner up with whoever they wanted. Initially, Cam came up to CT wanting to be his partner. However, CT gave Cam the cold shoulder. He ran through the crowd until he was able to spy and capture Ashley as his partner. Ashley and CT are both challenge champions, and they won on the same season together. They knew they could work together, so CT was more apt to want to be partnered up with Ashley than, say, Cam. This made Cam very upset, and so coming back to the challenge house, she was able to gather numbers, wanting to go and target the champions in the house, aka CT. She wanted to throw CT into the first elimination, kind of proving that she had the social game and the strategy, and that he should have picked her as his partner. And it worked. CT and Ashley became the house vote, and they were going to go up against Natalie Anderson and Wes. However, TJ had a twist up his sleeve, that it was not going to be a paired elimination where it was going to be CT and Ashley facing off against Natalie and Wes. Instead, it was a women's elimination, and it was going to be Ashley versus Natalie, where Ashley was eliminated. The whole reason that Ashley found herself in elimination was due to CT. CT was the original target and why CT and Ashley were down in the sand in the first place, but Ashley took the brunt of the consequences of CT's cold shoulder move to Cam, and it cost her the game, even though she came back, but then was quickly eliminated after she came back by Cam. When you talk about Cam, you have to talk about Leroy, and Leroy found himself as collateral damage going back to season 30, Dirty 30, where a couple of burn votes actually turned out to burn Leroy and ruin his game. Coming into this voting ceremony, Leroy's name really wasn't on anyone's radar. Well, not until Brittany decided to throw a quote-unquote burn vote on Leroy early on in the voting process.
And do a burn vote, and Leroy, I'm saying your name.
This completely backfired on not only Brittany, but mostly on Leroy, for Veronica then putting a vote on Leroy to tie the vote. Really, Veronica voted for Leroy out of principle, because during the deliberation, Veronica tried to get her point across, but her team really did not care about what she was saying and pretty much dismissed her vote. She was making a point that her voice should be listened to. Upon a revote, Tony was worried about being sent into the elimination instead, so he changed his vote over to Leroy. Leroy found himself in the elimination, having to go up against Hunter, and lost.
Not such a burn vote now, is it?
No, man.
Someone who found herself in jeopardy in the game due to her partner rather than herself was Justine in the Challenge World Championships. Justine and Bananas were paired up with one another, but for this particular season, Bananas found himself in a lot of hot water. Justine was well liked in the house by a lot of different players. More specifically, the players that she played with on the Challenge USA over on CBS. However, those people could not stand her partner, Johnny Bananas.
I don't think I've ever hated anyone as much in my entire life as I hate Danny and Sarah.
When Justine and Bananas were vulnerable, they found themselves in the elimination against Jordan and Kaz and lost. Possibly if Justine was partnered up with any other player in the game, possibly she would have made it farther and maybe made it to the final, but because she was paired up with Johnny Bananas, who was enemy number 1, she was sent in early and went home early. Johnny in his past was a part of this JEK alliance, and one person from that alliance that we're going to look at is Evan, when he was paired up with Nehemiah in Season 21 Rivals. Nehemiah was making his return. He came in wanting to win, hungry to compete. However, his partner had other ideas. Evan came into the game not in great physical shape.
Evan's still Evan, but he looks pregnant now. I don't know what happened.
There's also a rumor that Evan had to leave early because of college. So he was not playing to win. He was just playing for his appearance fee and then getting the heck out as soon as possible. So Evan made the decision for Nehemiah when he wanted to throw a daily challenge, be sent into elimination, and if he won against CT and Adam, cool. But if he didn't, then he can go home and finish up college and never return to the challenge ever again. Nehemiah at no point knew that Evan was going to throw the challenge, or needed to be back home due to conflict of schedules. So Nehemiah's whole game was just uprooted and thrown in the trash without his knowledge or without his consent.
I worked way too hard to come on this challenge, to throw challenges. I am so upset right now.
Nehemiah felt disrespected and was collateral damage, all for the pursuit of whatever Evan was trying to accomplish by just being there for only like 3 weeks and then getting out. Going back a few seasons earlier to season 19 Fresh Meat 2, Cara Maria found herself as collateral damage in part to being partnered up with Darrell. Coming into season 19, Darrell had a big old target on his back, mainly due to him being a 4-time challenge champion and all of the chaos that he and Wes got into a season prior on season 18, The Ruins. Early on in season 18, Wes said that he would throw every daily challenge to sandbag the champions team. Darrell felt like that was disrespectful as he was taking time out of his life, his work schedule, as well as taking money from his pocket if Wes was willing to throw challenges. So this led to very intense scenes between Darrell and Wes. So coming into season 19, Wes had a vendetta against Darrell and wanted him gone sooner rather than later. So with the first opportunity that he could get, Wes pushed for Kenny to put in Darrell and Cara into the first exile of the season, which he did. Darrell and Cara flopped in that exile and were the first pair to be eliminated from the game. Cara at the time felt like her challenge career was over before it really began. Luckily that wasn't the case, but at the time she thought she was going to be one and done, and it was all because of the chaos and drama that her partner drummed up in a previous season rather than anything that she had done. Now speaking of Wes, let's go to season 23, Battle of the Seasons 2012, where we have Team Austin being targeted and sent into the first elimination of the season against Team Fresh Meat. Now there was a rookie revolution happening on season 23, and it wasn't helping when everyone had a unified enemy of the house, and that was Wes. Wes was speaking his mind, Wes was putting a target on his own team's back, and Lacey, who was trying to stay small, silent, under the radar, kind of found herself in the crossfire because of Wes. Team Austin was voted to go into the first elimination, which was a hall brawl. Wes volunteered himself, and then Lacey volunteered herself to go against Cara Maria in the first ever hall brawl in challenge history, where Lacey got demolished. Not as demolished as Wes in round 1 of his hall brawl, but still they ended in the same result of both Wes and Lacey losing in the hall brawl 2 rounds to nothing against Big Easy and Cara Maria. Now with the strategy and the alliances that were forming early on in season 23, it feels as though that Team Austin was always going to be the vote to go up against Team Fresh Meat, as the rookies were trying to push all their chips in getting out the vets early. It's just that Wes's demeanor and the way that he was talking to the other castmates did not help their situation at all and actually drove people to want to see them sent in over and over again until they were eliminated. Let's go to one of my favorite seasons, and that is season 33, War of the Worlds. Kyle and Maddie were voted into the elimination by that week's tribunal. They were able to call out anybody that they wanted to go up against, and they called out Natalie and JP. This is where TJ, again, has a twist up his sleeve where he then asked JP and Natalie who they would like to go up against, so everybody was caught off guard. JP decided to swing big and called out CT and Julia. This was a wild turn of events, as CT has one of the best social games in challenge history, and once Kyle, one of CT's best friends in the game, was voted in, I'm sure he let out a sigh of relief knowing that he was never going to be called out. But in this case, you have a rookie in JP wanting to swing big, and he wanted to take on the man, the myth, the legend, CT. This led to Kyle getting the upset, winning against JP and CT, and on the women's side, Julia also became collateral damage, losing to Maddie, and was also eliminated from the game. And the final instance that I have on this list that I want to highlight goes back to season 25 Free Agents, where Teresa was pushing hard for everyone to vote in Laurel. Why let Laurel, an intimidating figure, waltz through this game without seeing an elimination? You can't play scared, and you gotta just vote her in. This is very ironic on Teresa's part because she wanted people to do her dirty work for her while keeping her hands clean, and it almost worked. So many people voted for Laurel that by the time it was Teresa's turn to vote, it was already a foregone conclusion that Laurel was going to go into the elimination. So Teresa just decided to do a burn vote somewhere else. They were hoping that she would go into the elimination, lose, and get her out of the game early. The problem came in the draw, when Jasmine was the one who flipped the kill card. There were other options that could have gave Laurel a run for her money. Instead, she went up against Jasmine, who was a pretty easy win. Jasmine found herself as collateral damage going up against the original target in Laurel, and I'm sure other people were hoping that Anissa would have faced off against Laurel in a physical elimination like Balls In, but that was not the case. But that is it for all the moments that I wanted to pick for this video to highlight players that were collateral damage in past seasons. I'm sure while going through this video, some other moments popped up in your mind of players that could be labeled as collateral damage. If you thought of a moment that I did not highlight in this video, please let me know down in the comment section below. I want to hear what you have to say. What did you think about the moments that I highlighted in this video? Which were your favorites? Which were your least favorites? Which were the most egregious in your opinion? Let me know anything and everything down in the comment section below. I now want to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for generosity. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who's watching this video up to this point. I'll be back very, very soon with more Challenge 41 content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.